Falmouth is a town in Cornwall known for its idyllic beaches and creative community. With 2 universities based in Falmouth and neighbouring Penryn, the seaside town attracts young people and families from all over, amassing a population of over 23,000, and with Cornwall receiving 4 million annual visitors, the town is never short of a bustling high street. However, Falmouth is less well known for the hundreds of reports recently made to the police of spiking incidents and other forms of sexual violence happening there. In fact, Safer Cornwall have found that non-domestic violence against women and girls crime rates in Falmouth are 1/3 higher than in wider Cornwall. A shocking yet unsurprising reality, once having spoken to local individuals attempting to enjoy the nightlife.
I used to feel a lot safer. Last summer, when everyone did start getting spiked a lot more, that was when I was like, this is real now. There's been times where I've been followed through the town and things like that. My friends have been followed and I've watched them be followed and I've had to step in and say something.
With this reality in consideration, Falmouth won a bid for funding from the Safer Streets Fund run by the government in hopes that investment will improve the situation. As well as going toward improved street lighting and more security cameras, the investment also encouraged the setting up of a safe space scheme in the town. Jo Flowerdew, Nikki Wood and Beth Williams of the Women's Centre Cornwall pioneered the scheme per request of the local council.
It was a project, a 2-week pilot project that was commissioned, all the money put in place from Safer Futures based in Cornwall. So we sort of took on the mantle of carrying out that safe space and we worked with some of our volunteers in the Women's Centre to carry and support anyone that wanted to come into that space.
The safe space was held at Good Vibes Cafe on Killigrew Street, Falmouth. Being spread over 2 floors meant that the space offered a private area for more confidential conversations and disclosures of sexual violence or domestic abuse. Whilst there were disclosures, there were also many casual conversations about consent, pornography and healthy relationships in a group setting on the lower floor, where people enter in and are offered to join with a cup of tea and a row of smiling faces.
For me, it was about being a non-judgmental, open, safe, confidential space for women and men. Like, for me, even if we'd have had one person come through the door and use it and have had gained something from it, that would have been enough. Because, you know, all of this stuff is so impactful that if one person saw that advert and thought, I need to go and speak to someone, and I haven't been able to speak to anyone before, and they came in and used that space, for me, that's that box ticked.
And the safe space did provide this to a multitude of people. Within its 2-week trial period, the space saw plenty of people coming through the doors to get things off their mind and utilise the personnel in attendance. Feedback from visitors told tales of acceptance and safety being in the space and suggested that its potential permanency in the town would be massively appreciated.
I think it's really helpful and really useful to have one in every town. You know, there's lots of different issues and problems that occur within the whole structure of society. So yeah, why not? You know, why not have one in every town? But definitely, I think where there is a lot of younger people, it's really quite supportive.
I think in an ideal world, yeah, we would. But I think that we could have safe spaces amongst other things, not have to be late at night. Like, there could be some way of doing this in a different context. Like, yeah, like I said, like cafes or, you know, pop-up places. There's so many unused shops that could we do something in one of those spaces? Yeah, you know, but ideally, yeah, it'd be great to have it in every town.
Whilst a permanent safe space in the town would be ideal, further funding would be required to make that happen. However, this is the Women's Centre goal. They conducted a training session with volunteers who attended the space in hopes that these individuals would go on to continue the scheme, funding permitted.
So we gave some insight into the reality of violence against women and girls, both locally and globally. And then I think we just wanted to hold space for the volunteers to kind of reflect on how the safe space was for them, and how they might want it to look moving forward.
Despite the safe space not being direct action in the prevention of the crimes against women and girls in Falmouth, the space is allowing conversations that may have been seen as taboo to be more openly discussed, hopefully benefiting the community by raising awareness.
I think until we really start addressing the root cause of violence against women and girls, it will continue to be perpetrated. But I think hopefully the safe space could serve a purpose in the sense that it could maybe, people might feel more comfortable to disclose, which might then increase reporting rates and maybe conviction rates. But maybe it could serve that sort of purpose and really allow a space for women and girls to be heard and to be believed, which is really vital, especially when it comes to kind of turning the tide and changing misogynistic culture.
It is evident that the Safe Space scheme in Falmouth was not only a huge success, but also a vital addition to the town. We can only hope that funding may enable its future.
It's like transferring the energy of this place to another place. So I think we felt like we could do that because it's just like kind of taking ourselves there and recreating what we already do here.
The Women's Centre Cornwall, based in Bodmin, is a specialist provider of services for women and girls who have experienced any form of sexual violence, rape, sexual assault, childhood sexual abuse and/or domestic abuse at any point in their lives. The space is private and welcoming, with all the volunteers and specialist support workers there, making anyone who walks through the doors as comfortable and supported as possible.
To come into that space. So